Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. I would like to start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? You get what you work for, not what you wish for. When you want something, usually you wish for something, but you get what you work for, not what you wish for. So, what is the message over here? Whatever you want, you have to work for it. Mere wish will not fetch that one. A very useful quote. And let us go to today's editorial. Today's editorial is all about the general forecast from the IMD, and the editorial talks about where IMD has to focus on, what improvements it has to make. Today's editorial, a very short editorial, not that difficult to understand or comprehend, and not too many words. Two things about today's editorial: a very short editorial, not too many words. The very first word, forecast. I'm sure you guys know forecast could be a verb, it could be a noun. Predict or estimate a future event or trend. But here, this is very important from the exam point of view in the sense words like cast, forecast, broadcast, cost, hurt, all these have the same form. In many exams, they've given forecasted, broadcasted, not correct, costed, not correct. All the three forms, present, past, and future, the same. I'm sorry, present, present form, past form, and past participle form, the same. Forecast, forecast, forecast. Lopsided, an important word. Part of speech adjective, with one side or part much bigger or higher than the other. But you can remember uneven. Lopsided goes with growth, development. No, I have already said PDF will not be provided. I'm going to come up with a magazine. One has to subscribe and there you're going to have more information. Imminent. So lopsided goes with growth, development. Usually it goes with an organization, a city, a town. Lopsided development means what? Uneven development, an important word. Imminent, we have got so many times. Part of speech, adjective. About to happen or likely to happen. Predicate, it's a grammar term. Subject, predicate. But here it is a verb, predicated. What does it mean? State, affirm, or assert something about the subject of a sentence or an argument of a proposition. Here you can take it as affirm, state, or assert something. Parameters, parameter, noun, singular, parameters, plural. A limit or boundary which defines the scope of a particular process or activity. A limit or boundary which defines the scope of a particular process or activity. Parameter. What are the parameters? Usually we ask the question. Conceal, you have got many a time, and it goes with effective English, but I'm sure you guys know. Conceal means what? Hide something, not to allow to be seen, or you can also think of hide. Imminent, you have to recollect the confusing word, the other word in the pair, eminent. Both are different. Epoch, part of speech, noun, a particular period of time in history or a person's life. Not in a person's life, usually it goes with history. Significant, we have got many a time, part of speech, adjective, sufficiently great or important to be worthy of attention, noteworthy. Significant means important. Norms, something that is usual, typical, or standard. Norms of something means the standards of something, the values of something. This is again an important word, signatory, part of speech, noun. A party that has signed an agreement, especially a state that has signed a treaty. In this context, it goes with IMT. Myriad ways. It could be a noun, it could be an adjective, but generally it is used as an adjective. A countless or extremely great number of people or things, many. Fortnight, a period of 2 weeks. For that we say fortnight. Decade, 10 years. Even that word has been used. Anachronistic. chronology goes with time. Anachronistic, part of speech adjective, that's a new word. Belonging to a period other than that being portrayed. You're portraying a particular period, but something belongs to a different period. Then we say anachronistic. Accurate, I use quite often. Part of speech adjective, it goes with information, authentic, especially of information, measurements, predictions, correct in all details or exact. But accurate usually it goes with information. Is information accurate means is it correct? Now let us go to the editorial. Time for change. We also say time to change, time for change. But you cannot make out what exactly the editorial conveys. You have to read the next sentence. The IMD must update some processes and stress on shorter forecasts. This editorial, as I said, it talks about the general prediction made by the IMD, but the focus is more on, it is rather suggestive. What IMD must do, it must update some processes, that is one dimension, and stress on shorter forecasts, another dimension. Here, IMD must. Must is a helping verb. It is used. There are two dimensions. One, it is used to express a personal obligation or an obligation imposed by the speaker. The other one, it is used to convey the idea that something is compulsory. The IMD must update some processes, one thing, and stress on. Usually, we don't say there are certain verbs. After those verbs, we should not use any preposition. What are those verbs? Discuss. You all know discuss about, not correct. And order for, not correct. Stress on, not correct. Inform to, not correct. Attack against, not correct. Stress on shorter forecasts. Here it's a different pattern altogether, a bit surprising. Anyhow, main idea of the editorial, crystal clear. It talks about two dimensions. One is update some processes. The other one, stress shorter forecasts. Focus on. Here, stress on. Perhaps the writer wanted to convey focus on, because stress has another typical meaning of the word stress, emphasize. When we use with that meaning, we should not use a preposition on, it's a common error. He stressed on two things in the meeting, not correct. He stressed the two things in the meeting, then it is correct. The India Meteorological Department, IMD, has forecast a normal monsoon for this year, or 99% of the long period average LPA of 87 centimeters. This sentence talks about, here in this editorial, you come across you come across statistical data, easy to grasp, and the editorial, simple language, easy to understand. The IMD has forecast a normal monsoon for this year, or 99% of the long period average LPA of 87 centimeters. The IMD has a multi-stage monsoon forecast system. Multi-stage, not one time, at different stages it forecasts. Now the first one, general one, in the month of April, then in the month of August. So different stages. Based on that, the IMD has a multi-stage monsoon forecast system. The April forecast usually has little detail, means no detail. Again, you have to recollect the difference between little, a little, and also the little, on how much rain is expected during each of the monsoon months, and whether the rain will be lopsided or evenly distributed geographically. Here there are two words. One is forecast, predict, and lopsided, uneven. So this sentence talks about April forecast. Multi-stage monsoon means the forecast at different stages. This talks about the April forecast, and it is a general one. Usually has little detail on how much rain is expected during each of the monsoon months, and whether the rain will be lopsided or evenly distributed geographically. You don't find that information month-wise. It's a general forecast. The IMD usually shares this in late May or early June. Specific month-wise, the IMD usually shares this in late May or early June, just around the time the monsoon is imminent over Kerala. That time it is going to be more specific. So imminent, an important word, part of speech adjective. What does it mean? About to happen. So this sentence talks about general forecast in the month of April, specific forecast in June, May or early June. The IMD usually shares this in late May or early June, just around the time the monsoon is imminent over Kerala, likely to happen, about to happen. The forecast in April is thus a general indicator and of little public utility. It's a general statement, general forecast. It has no public utility, no use as such, because it is general in nature. A normal monsoon forecast this year is also predicated. This is again an important word, part of speech verb. State, affirm, or assert about the subject of a sentence or an argument of a proposition. So it is like asserting something. A normal monsoon forecast this year is also predicated on the absence of an El Nino, a warming of Central Pacific linked to the drying up of monsoon rains. A warming of the Central Pacific Ocean. Again, when you come across oceans, you have to recollect the rule that goes with the definite article the. Before oceans, seas, rivers, we have to use a definite article the. The Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. That has to be recollected. So this talks about what makes an impact on monsoons or monsoon every year. A normal monsoon forecast this year is also predicated on the absence of an El Nino, a warming of the Central Pacific linked to the drying up of monsoon rains. The impact of this results in drying up of monsoon rains. However, contrasting information. Another ocean parameter, an important word, a limit or boundary which defines the scope of a particular process or activity. However, another ocean parameter called Indian Ocean Dipole, the positive phase of which is associated with good rains, has also been forecast to be neutral or unhelpful for the monsoon. So these two sentences talk about the impact of something on monsoon. One is positive impact, this is positive impact. The other one is negative impact. What is the one that has a negative impact? El Nino. And this time it is not predicated on the absence of. That means no negative impact. At the same time, contrasting information, the one with a positive impact, ocean dipole, it is going to be neutral or unhelpful for the monsoon. There has also been another significant bit of information made public. I hope I've given the meanings of all the words previous slide. Yes. Then it talks about there has also been another significant bit of information made public. Significant means important. What is that? The IMD has changed its definition of the LPA, which is an indication of the average rainfall over a 50-year interval, and as per the norms of the World Meteorological Organization, to which India is a signatory, should be updated every 10 years. Now, this talks about India being a signatory to World Meteorological Organization. To be more specific, IMD being a signatory. Here, one important word, signatory, means what? A party that has signed an agreement, especially a state that has signed a treaty. In this context, the organization, the IMD. The IMD has changed its definition of the LPA, which is an indication. LPA talks about an indication of the average rainfall over a 50-year interval and as per the norms of the World Meteorological Organization. An important word, norms. Norms means what? Something that is usual, typical, or standard, the values, norms, the rules of the World Meteorological Organization to which India is a signatory should be updated every 10 years. Now they have to update every 10 years. For myriad reasons, means what? A countless or extremely great number of people or things. A lot, you can take it that way. For myriad reasons, the IMD stuck with an LPA number of 89 centimeters. The average monsoon rain from 1951 to 2000, 50 years, until 2018, when it was updated to 88 centimeters to reflect the average from 1961 to 2010. And now to count for the 1971 to 2020 interval, the number is 87. So it shows that every 10 years or every time they take the LPA, 1 centimeter is going down. While on the surface, it might look like India is losing just a centimeter of rainfall every decade, it must be remembered that this conceals wide shifts in rainfall when computed at the state and district levels, as a monsoon rain is highly uneven. At the apparently or obviously, it looks like when you look at the data, it looks like every on the surface, it is losing every once in 10 years, you can say, every decade, a centimeter of rainfall, apparently, obviously. But one has to remember, it must be remembered that this conceals, hides wide shifts in rainfall when computed at the state and district levels. When you go down to the state level or district level, you see the variations as the monsoon rain is highly uneven, lopsided. The IMD explains the loss of a centimeter every decade as part of a natural cycle of the monsoon, where 30 years of less rain or a dry epoch, an important word, a time period, a particular period of time in history, not person's life in history, better to remember that way. This talks about the IMD explains the loss of a centimeter every decade as part of a natural cycle of the monsoon, where 30 years of less rain or a dry epoch is followed by 30 years of a wet epoch. India began a dry epoch in the 1970-80 decade, the IMD says. It is now in a neutral phase, neither dry nor wet, and will enter a wet epoch in the decade 2030-2040. The IMD has presented research over the years documenting the changes in the weather and rainfall in recent years down to sub-district levels, state, district, sub-district levels, and has said that global warming, in its tendency to heat the oceans, has certainly had a role to play. So, what could be the reason behind losing 1 centimeter every decade or once in 10 years? The IMD has done a lot of research and presented papers, has presented research over the years documenting the changes in the weather and rainfall in recent years down to the sub-district levels, and has said that global warming, the main reason, global warming in its tendency to heat the oceans has certainly had a role to play. Today we talk about climate change, global warming, greenhouse effect, and the impact of these when it comes to monsoon. Much like the update to the average, the IMD must update. Now it reiterates the main idea. Much like the update to the average, the IMD must update some processes and lay stress on shorter forecasts a month or a fortnight ahead, rather than maintain anachronistic traditions of long range forecasts that are neither accurate nor useful. There are two words over here. One is three words. Fortnight means what? A period of 2 weeks. Anachronistic, it talks about belong to a period other than that being portrayed, not in coherence with the period that is being projected. And accurate, accurate information, exact information. The last sentence it talks about, it is nothing but reiteration. What IMD has to focus on, it has to update, it talks about as it has updated the average, the IMD must update some processes, one thing, and lay stress on shorter forecasts a month or a fortnight ahead, rather than maintain anachronistic traditions of long range forecasts of no use. So they should be short and specific. The long range forecasts that are neither accurate nor useful. These are not accurate and they are not useful. So, no point in giving those forecasts. That's all about the editorial. A very short editorial, simple, easy to understand, and important. You may get anything related to climate, environment, you may get as a passage. That way, it is important. Let us have a look at the question from this editorial. What is this editorial about? The April forecast usually has little detail on what? Little detail on what? That you have to answer. The positive phase of what is associated with good rains. The positive phase of something is associated with good rains. And what is that? How does the IMD explain the loss of a centimeter every decade? It talks about the loss of 1 centimeter every decade. How does it explain? What are the reasons behind? When did India begin a dry epoch? When did India begin a dry epoch? Keywords easy to answer. Now let us go to, please download the app Murthy's English, and there is a course that is being offered, bank exams point of view English course. Go to the details later. Now, first 5 questions deal with error location, practice questions based on exam topics. Please try to spot the error. Today it has taken only 21 minutes because short editorial and not too many words. General forecast given by IMD. General forecast. This is all about general forecast. And the editorial opines it is of no use, general forecast. Some of our staff is worried. You don't have to go beyond the first part. What is the reason? It starts with the word some. Some more than one, definitely. Plural. Of our staff. That is a phrase. Don't consider a phrase. Some are worried. Some are worried. A few are worried. A lot are worried. It has to be, we have to use a plural verb. And what is this question about? Subject verb agreement. Question number 2 or sentence number 2. If you decide to hold the function in Kolkata, not much of us will be able to attend. Today the questions are very easy. You should get all the 5 correct. If you decide to hold the function in Kolkata, not much of us will be able to attend. Here again, much is not correct. It should be many. Many goes with countable. Countable nouns. Much goes with uncountable nouns. Here we talk about people. The sentence talks about persons, so you cannot use much, you have to use many. In case you need 5 people to run a branch, you should be selected 10, since some may leave. This is being practical. Useful, you all should remember a very useful sentence when it comes to recruitment. In case you need 5 people to run a branch, you should be selected 10, since some may leave. Here you don't have to use a clause in passive voice. It should be in active voice. Based on that, should be selected is not correct. You should select. You should select. Then it is correct. And the question is about what? It is about active voice. For this idea, you cannot use passive voice, you have to use active voice. Based on that, you should select. Then, being a smart learner, you have to recollect what are the functions of should. One, it has 2 functions. One, it is used to advise or suggest to someone. Another, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. Question number 4. Although he approached many private businesses to invest in his printing business, nobody was interested. Although he approached many private businesses to invest in his printing business, No, should be selecting is not correct. Once I say what is correct, there ends the matter. Nobody here, nobody is not appropriate. It should be none was interested. Although he approached many private businesses to invest, here it is not people, nobody. Nobody refers to persons, but the sentence talks about businesses. This is a good question, in my opinion. What is the reason? There is an error. Oh, you all have the same answer, no error. No, no, there is an error. Although he approached many persons, then nobody was interested, correct. Not persons here, many private businesses. Then you cannot say nobody, none was interested. Not, it is about appropriate, indefinite pronoun. None goes with persons as well as things. Nobody goes with persons. As simple as that. No one, nobody, no one came, nobody came refers to persons, but none may go with things, none may go with persons. Here, businesses, not persons. So you cannot use nobody. How can you give up this job when you're just about to be appointed for general manager? How can you give up this job when you're just about to be appointed for general manager? How come no response? Question number 5. Yes, Vasu, first one to respond. Here, appointed as, not for. For the post of general manager, then it is correct. But here, you don't see that. Only general manager. Appointed as general manager. About to be appointed as general manager. When are you is not correct. No, no. When you are about to be appointed, it is in passive voice. Today's para jumble a little challenging in the sense how many parts are there. You have to be very careful. Not the usual A, B, C, D, E, F. Today you have G also. So don't be hasty. Read all the parts. Then you decide. I have just said Prasad's. Don't be hasty. And C is not the first one. Para jumbles, please don't be hasty. Not at all advisable. Because 5 marks, once you go off the track, it is gone. MSK, first one to respond with the correct answer. The first sentence over here, he is the first one. He is iron deficiency universal and profound in India. Profound means deep. Is it due to dietary iron deficiency? One is E. Now, what is the second one? Second one is a bit difficult. You have to decide between men and women. And if you remember a popular saying, then you'll get the correct order. MSK, very good. Here, there are two sentences. Opening sentence, a question. Is iron deficiency universal and profound in India? Is it due to dietary iron deficiency? Then it provides data, men, women. But which one first? Is it, oh, my pleasure. Is it men or women? There's a saying in English. What is it? Ladies first. So that way, go with women. Based on that, B. With the Indian vegetarian diet containing 8.4 mg iron, 1000 kilocalorie energy, women who eat adequately, enough energy for a sedentary lifestyle, fixed, no physical activity, then continuation, it is not over, should have an iron intake of about 15 mg per day, matching the dairy iron requirement. So here, BG1 pair, women should have BG, no, no, not C. Here there is a punctuation mark. Sentence is not complete. Please consider punctuation. No, no, don't be hasty. Then comes the C. Men, women, men. Here, women, two sentences, two parts. There is a comma. Should have an iron intake. Then comes C. After that, what? Therefore, dietary iron deficiency is not the major problem. First, not the major problem, nor is iron deficiency. That means FD1 pair. Therefore, dietary iron deficiency is not the major problem, nor is iron deficiency the common cause for deficiency anemia in India. It is only one cause. What is it? Other nutrients like vitamin B12, folate, and protein are also important. The last one is A. What is the correct order? E, B, G, C. First, the writer questions, then he provides statistical data, women, men, then these are not the reasons, not, nor, neither, nor, and finally, what is the reason? A talks about that. This is the correct order. A is the last one. Let us go to the next set. Synonyms, these are also easy in a way, but we do have, this is a heterogeneous group. The other day, someone was asking, sir, please give the meanings in Telugu. I don't use Telugu, one thing. And this platform is not for beginners, another thing. This platform, because I use English all the time, and those who can comprehend, those are to some extent good at English, not for absolute beginners. And I have already given the meaning, the word subtle, slight. Beyond that, I cannot go. What is the reason? Here, I have to deal with editorial analysis. I have to deal with practice questions based on exam topics. And this platform is not for beginners. This is for proficiency in English. First, you have to be good at English to some extent, reasonably good at English. Then I talk about proficiency, becoming very good. But absolute beginners, I cannot go down to that level. It is not, this is not the platform. Please understand. And Telugu is ruled out. Don't expect Telugu words or Telugu explanation in Telugu. That is completely ruled out. Not in the wildest dreams. This is completely English to English and not for beginners, those who can comprehend, who are reasonably good at English, but they want to become very good at English. So, groups of blind fish, herds goes with animals. Like herd the other day, you got elephants, right? And shoals, flocks birds, and packs wolves. What is the word? Shoals or school? School or shoal? You can also use the word school of fish. That is also correct. Don't think that is wrong. Shoal of fish, school of fish. Both are correct. But better, please go to question number 2. Wildest dreams means something that is not normal, something that happens rarely, extra abnormal, and not the usual stuff, something weird, something strange, unusual. There also don't expect. That means what? It is not going to happen. I will not use Telugu words. I will not give the meanings in Telugu. In this platform, if I start bilingual Hindu editorial analysis, bilingual, there definitely I have to use. I may use. That's a different thing. But this is purely English to English. Surplus means what? Sufficient, enough, one and the same. Oh, that's wonderful. Spend more time. Learn grammar, learn the basics, learn all the 200 rules, and attend these sessions. Every day, read something or other. Definitely, you will cross 20. There are people who are struggling to cross the single digit within a short period of 2 months, between 12 and 14. That is good enough. And do remember, things don't happen overnight. You have to have patience, and sooner or later, you will cross 20. I'm confident. Excess, what is the right word? Excess, efficient, not relevant. Researchers extracted DNA from the leech's blood, leech, you all know, blood sucking invertebrate, and detected 86 different species. This is amazing. From endangered Yunnan spiny frogs to Asiatic black bears and humans. What is a synonym of endangered? Above average. That is above average. Right word, geopardy, we don't use in this form. From endangered. Geopardy, frogs, not correct. No. Meaning may be the same, but the form is not correct. Fatal, causing death, not correct. Suffering, not relevant. Answer is endangered means threatened. Threatened. Right word, first option. It may be the synonym, but do remember, based on the sentence pattern, based on the context, you have to choose the right word. That is what I call contextual awareness. You can say geopardized, then it would have been correct. Word form also matters. With China still clinging on to the zero COVID strategy, cling, moving, no, no. Here attached, you can, but word form is not correct. Adhering would have been correct. Word form is not correct. Based on the word form, sentence pattern, context, sticking. Clinging means sticking, holding on to something. So answer is sticking. Here it may look easy, but under pressure, not that easy. The Food and Drug Administration has issued an emergency use authorization for what it said is a first device. Again, you have to be alert. DEVICE, noun form, VISE, verb form. To hold firmly. Cling means to hold firmly. That's right. Babies cling to, yes, that's right. Here, apparatus goes with a lab. It doesn't go with the context. Equipment also not the right word. Tools, again, not correct. Gadget, device, gadget. The first gadget that can detect COVID-19. You can use the word gadget, but generally gadget goes with household gadgets. That is a typical combination you have to remember. And household gadgets. Tool also no is a first tool, not in this context. Once I brought an article, international magazine, related to this context. They use the word gadget. That's the reason why I had to bring. I don't know how many of you remember gadgets, new gadgets that detect COVID. That was the article from the Economist magazine. Gadget is the right word, beyond any doubt. Phrasal verbs are a little confusing in the sense you have the same phrasal verb broke down, broke down. So you got to, based on the context, you have to choose the appropriate option. Our car broke down at the side of the highway in the snowstorm. Based on the context means what? Broke down, stopped functioning. Answer is the second option. The woman broke down when the police told her that her son had died. Means what? Get upset, to collapse emotionally. Here, third option. Our teacher broke the final project down into three separate parts. Teacher broke down something means what? Divide into smaller parts. Somebody broke into last night into our neighbor's house or our house. Somebody broke into our house last night and stole our stereo. Means what? Enter by force. The TV station broke in to report the news of the president's death. Break in means interrupt. Answer is the fourth option. Has anyone got all the five correct? Phrasal verbs. Now let us go to the last slide, enrichment. Editorial vocabulary. Forecast could be a verb, could be a noun. Option D, funny sentence. Somebody broke into our house last night and stole our stereo. Without our house, then it is definitely funny. Forecast means what? Predict. Answer is H, simple word predict. Lopsided, development, that means adjective. Again, a simple word, uneven. F. Imminent, adjective. About to happen, likely to happen, about to happen, J. Predicated, part of speech, verb. State, affirm, or assert the subject of something, the main idea of something. A is the answer. Parameter, parameters, noun. A limit or boundary that defines the scope of something. C is the answer. Conceal, concealed, concealed. It's a regular verb. Means what? A simple word. Hide. Epoch, noun. It goes with the time period. Particular period of time. Myriad ways, myriad reasons means extremely large number of reasons, great number. D is the answer. Norms. Norms has two or three meanings. In this context, a standard, something that is typical or standard. Noun. G is the answer. Accurate, accurate information. Adjective. Authentic, accurate, correct or exact. That's all for today. Hope you guys have got enriched. Do remember to subscribe and share. Join the Telegram group. After the session, go to the description of the video and click on the link. I will see